Hey, my name is Chase and I'm the editor for all of RoofX Solar's content. Last weekend, the team took a trip over to this year's Storm Restoration Conference, and here's how it went. We decided to go to the summit this year to learn more about the roofing community and to introduce roofers to the idea of having their own virtual solar branch and what that would look like. The first night when we arrived in Dallas, we headed right to our hotel, the Texican, and we checked in for the night. Woke up early next morning not knowing what exactly we were walking into, but nevertheless we got ready for the day and we walked over to the convention center. We got our badges printed out, signed into the convention, and walked into a really tall open room with about 10 to 15 booths, all representing different companies. At this point, we were trying to get the feel for the place, so we stopped by some booths and talked with some of the different companies while we listened to the speaker that was speaking at the women's lunch. She definitely had some interesting things to say, but soon after that, we started getting a feel for the room and we started talking with the sales rabbit team. They were pretty amazing guys, and that conversation definitely made us feel ready for later that night. So after a few more conversations, we decided to head back to the Texican and get ready for the meet and greet that we had later on that night. We stopped at the hotel, got ourselves ready for the meet and greet, and started headed over to Bar Louie. Headed to the bar, we were all a bit nervous, but we knew everything was going to go just fine. At first, it was hard to get through the room. The place was really packed, full with some amazing people. It took a bit to get the ball rolling, but after some time, we made our way to the bar. We were probably waiting there for maybe 4 to 5 minutes before I looked at Brian and tried telling him that we have to get moving around the room and start talking to people. And he looked at me and told me these things just happen when they happen. You got to give it time. And I really didn't want to listen to him, but literally no more than 6 seconds later, Harvey walked over and started talking with us. And Harvey was a really fun guy to talk with. He always had a smile on, and I don't think there was a person there that didn't come over to shake his hand. We ended up meeting some really amazing people as we walked around the room and talked with everyone. People started leaving as the night, started to die down. They were either heading back to their hotel rooms or they were heading over to the Westin bar that's just down the street. We were walking across the room one last time when I met Alex. Both me and Alex are kind of in the same field of work, so it was really good to get his perspective since he'd been in the industry a little bit longer. After we all finished our conversations, we headed over to the Westin. We actually decided to go to the Westin after Jennifer invited us over. Shannon and Jennifer had been talking a lot at Bar Louie, and to be honest, we all really enjoyed hanging out with her. She was a very empowering person. After a bit, Tony and Sal came over to talk. We're not going to go into too much detail on that conversation, but Tony is a really fun person to be around. He's nothing but authentic. They both told some very inspiring stories. After a bit of chatting in the lobby, we all get hit by a level of exhaustion, realizing it was 1 a.m. So everyone said their goodbyes and we made our way back to the hotel. The next morning we got up, got some breakfast, and made our way on over to the Toyota Center for the main event. The walk was a little bit colder than we expected, but our hotel was just down the street, so we couldn't really complain. We went through security, and the first room that we walked into was set up kind of like the booths from the day before. There were a lot more of them in here, though. We made our way around the room, got the feel of the place, and then we actually saw they had a concession stand. So, of course, we went over and we got some soft pretzels to eat while we listened to the speakers. The first speaker that we actually got to listen to was the same speaker from the women's lunch the day before. And she definitely had some more interesting things to say, but soon after that, Tony went up on stage and got everybody pumped for the rest of the event. We sat there for a bit, then we decided to go around and talk to some of these booths. We met up with the RepCart team, and they were some really cool guys. We ended up talking with them for a while, but after some time we realized we should probably get talking with other people and we'd come back and talk to each other again later. After that, we made our way over to Tony's VIP section to say hi. The elevator Brian had to use to get up that set of stairs was it was a little off-putting, but he made it up all right. We ended up mingling around the event for a bit, and we even got invited to the VIP after party that night, so we were all pretty pumped that we were going to get a chance to see what that looked like. We headed in there a bit early, and when we arrived at the VIP section, there were a few people already in there waiting for the after party to start. But before the party started, we met the ATA team. They are a really smart and hardworking group of people. As we all got to talking, more and more people showed up eventually. The room was packed. It was starting to get late, and it didn't really look like the party was going to die down anytime soon, so we decided to call it in early because of our flights that we had the next day. So on our way back to the hotel, we actually stopped by Bar Louie for one of our last fancy trip meals, and then we decided to go back to the hotel. The next morning was just kind of us getting up and getting ready to go to the airport, and that's kind of where the trip ends. I would say that this trip was a success. We definitely met a ton of amazing people, and we even got invited to Win the Storm in February, so we're really excited about that. We're excited to meet more empowering roofers, and if you guys have any questions about what we do, or maybe you're just interested in being on our podcast, Shovel Talk, feel free to leave a comment below, and see you next time. Bye.